Thank you everyone for joining the screencast today. In this screencast, we will be covering 3D visualization of Siebel version data. This is a new feature that we have added to our product object Hive. So let's start by looking at a business component in Siebel tools. We have this business component called COM server CM configuration agents. If we go to help about record, we can see when it was created and when it was last updated. This view tells us that it was created by Sadmin as part of the original seed import in the repository on April 4, 2001. It was last modified by Jay Adams from our team on October 21st, 2011. What we don't know is how many times it has been modified, who made those modifications, and what were those modifications. So to find that out, we will go to Object Hive. The modification history, that is the version history, is extremely critical for troubleshooting and also for preempting bugs. Based on that history, you can prevent bugs from even going into your test environment if the history can be monitored. And this has been a weak point of Siebel for a long time. Here we see the login screen for Object Hive. Unlike CVS SVN, this is a graphical tool, and we log in as C Cheng. And once we're logged in, we can instantly recognize the left pane, which is very similar to Siebel tools and very familiar for Siebel developers. So you navigate just as you would navigate in your Siebel tools. So let's query for the business component that we were looking at in Siebel tools. We'll query for it by its name. And this should bring up a list of all the versions that have been stored in Object Hive. As we can see, there are 4 different versions for that particular business component in Siebel tools. The first is mod number 0, which is your out-of-the-box state. Then we have mod number 5, which is the second version, and then another mod number 9, which is the third version, and mod number 15, which is the fourth version. We can compare any of these two by selecting them. So let's compare mod number 0 with mod number 5 and see what were the first changes that were made to out-of-the-box version. So as we can see, this brings up a differences window, and we can see the differences between the two mod numbers. So let's look at the field primary configuration ID, and we can see that it's been modified, and the list of the modifications can be found over here. And the critical difference is here. The force active has been changed from N to a Y. It was N in mod number 0, and it was made to Y in mod number 1. We can go on expanding and see differences for other fields. We can see that a field called first name was added, which didn't exist in mod number 0, but now exists in mod number 5. Same thing for a field called last name. We'll go back and look at this in tools very quickly. So here's the field for the particular business component, and we can see its current state. But now looking at this data, we can instantly tell that the first name and last name were added in the second version and were not there out of the box. So it's great that we have all this version history and we can compare any two given versions at a time. But we thought, is there a way we could show more than 2 versions at a time? And we realized that the solution could not be implemented using a master detail view or a simple tabular format. So we thought of creating this in a 3D view, and I'll show that to you very quickly. So we have added this new button called 3D. Clicking on this button gives us a 3D visualization of all the version data for the particular business component. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So this brings up the 4 different versions for that particular business component, which is the COM server CM configuration agents business component in 3D space. And we can see the legend over here and what each of these colors represent. So each of these colors represents a different layer for that business component. So this color represents the business component. The red color is the field. So the nodes in red are for fields. The node in green are for the joins, and the row nodes in blue are for the join specification. So let's go to the first two versions by zooming in. And the naming convention is the name of that particular object followed by the version number. So let's look at the first two that we looked at. So we can see the first name and the last name were added in the second revision, which was mod number 5, which was done by user C Cheng. This 5 is the mod number and this is the user. So this tells us that this business component was created by C Cheng, updated by C Cheng, and the mod number assigned to it was 5, and these two fields were added to it. Clicking on that should bring up the properties dialog. Just like Siebel tools, we can inspect the properties for that particular business components field. Also, we know that the primary configuration ID field was updated. We can see it here with the mod number of 0, and it's been updated here. Clicking on this brings up the diff dialog, so we can see the changes for primary configuration ID. We can see them blinking, so we see both the revisions. We see the original out of the box primary configuration ID blinking, and we also see the new updated one blinking in the second revision, which was created by C Cheng. And this particular window here displays the differences. So we can see Sadmin was the original version, and then it was updated by C Cheng. This mod number 3 is the mod number for that particular field, and we see the differences. So disable sort was enabled, immediate post changes was enabled, force active was enabled, and we can see the comments that C Cheng put in there, setting force active to true. We forgot to mention the other two fields, but we can see those through the diff view. So let's look around a little bit and try to explore the other changes for the other versions. So we can now come to the third revision. We can see it was created by T. Arnold. The modification number assigned to it was number 9 in Siebel, and we see first name has again been updated. So let's click on that, and we can see again first name is flashing in mod number 9 and mod number 5, which was the second revision created by C Cheng, and we can see the differences here. So we can see C Cheng's version over here, and we see T. Arnold updated it, and it was changed from a force active of N to a Y. Again, we can see the properties of the version we have clicked on, which is the updated version of first name created by T. Arnold, and we can explore the properties here. So let's look around for some more changes. The visual representation of the Siebel business component, we can quickly tell that there were no changes on the join or join specification. So we see, based on the legend here, that this original business component has 4 join, and these are the join specifications. We will try to see if there were any changes to the other versions. So we can quickly see that in the third version, which was created by T. Arnold with a mod number of 9, the 2 join specifications were updated. Clicking on one of the join specifications, we will see the changes. This is the properties which I'm dragging right now to the right of the join specification in that particular version, and here are the differences. So we can see T. Arnold updated the join specification, C. Cheng did not touch the join specification, and he changed the source field from user ID to ID for the join specification. So this is very powerful. Visually, we can quickly, just knowing the hierarchy of the Siebel business component, we can see which parts were touched by whom, and clicking on any node brings up the differences, and it flashes the previous version. So we can see that this particular join or join specification has been updated, and we can search for a flashing node. So here we see that it was modified in the 4th version. So out of the box was version 0, and then J. Adams, who has made the 4th modification with mod number 15, touched that particular join specification. So similarly, we can see that J. Adams also updated another join specification, and in this case he updated what T. Arnold worked on. So this can help quickly facilitate a dialogue between the developers, they know what were the changes and whose changes they updated, and resolve any potential conflicts. So thank you for watching this particular screencast. You can reach us at sales@enterprisebeacon.com for any further questions or more information on Object Hive or any data visualization needs that you may have. Last but not least, Object Hive is Excel Ready certified by Oracle, and these are the certifications that are currently carried by Object Hive. Thank you very much.